All right, hello, and good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Good morning, if it's morning. Really excited to dive into this webinar on smart lists in Follow Boss, smartest collections, and our Smart List Zero app. So feel free to drop a note in the chat, say hello, where you're joining us from. Always love to see that and see who's on and what type of ground we're covering here. My name is Lee Adkins. I'm the head of product at SmartList Zero. I am coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm going to dive in. All right, look at that. All right, very cool. Good to see you guys on. I'm going to cover a couple of quick things first. The session also is designed for owners and admin level Follow Up Boss users, but everyone is welcome. If you're an agent, great. You'll definitely learn some things, but we're going to dive more about the setup and use of these smart lists and how our app can also help you manage that. So again, as I said, my name is Lee Adkins. I have a deep, long history, both with Follow Up Boss and in real estate. I used to run a team in Atlanta, powered by Follow Up Boss. Most of our success was tied to using and setting up and training agents on what to do inside of Follow Up Boss. So really focused on operations and how teams and brokerages run. Started on Follow Boss in 2013, so been a pretty long time user there. And also Amplified Solutions, our company, we help teams and brokerages boost their production by using this methodology of smart lists, moving them to zero or keeping them empty, keeping them clean. And we do that in two ways: one through a full service, help you do it with you, and also through our app, which we're going to show you in a little bit. So, really excited to dive in here. I wanted to mention some really interesting stats before I share my screen. Um, 80% of real estate agents don't consistently work their leads. If you're a team leader or a broker owner, you know this. Also, the average real estate lead requires 8 to 12 interactions, which is actually up from prior stats. And so I go into people's Follow Boss accounts all the time, and they have less than one attempted contact with the new lead, and that ain't going to cut it. So we're digging into our smart lists and how to get agents to use them. Also, 71% of buyers only interview one agent. So speed to lead and getting back to people is ultra crucial in this business. So let me hop over and share my screen. I'm going to hop into Follow Up Boss first. And if you guys have questions as we go, you can drop them in the chat or Q&A. Chris on my team is also going to be helping out in the chat and answering questions as we go. So, and I'll do my best to get to them. I'll certainly get to everything by the end. But diving into Follow Up Boss first and foremost, I'm actually going to run a quick poll while I do this. If you guys could give quick answers just on what your role is, it's helpful for me to know who is on and make sure we cover relevant things. But as you likely know, Smart List and Follow Up Boss they've moved over here to the left-hand side recently. Thank you guys for filling out the poll. I really appreciate it. I can see those coming in. They've moved over here to the left recently, and they've been moved into something called collections, which is a much better way to organize and share these smart lists. So we're going to get into that. But obviously a recent change. It's been really exciting to see people play with this and the things that people have come up with. I've got some recommendations I'm going to cover here. But just want to cover at a high level, what are smart lists? They're a saved set of criteria that you can make custom to your business and what you do and what you're trying to do and the lead type that you're managing here. So appreciate you guys answer that poll. I'll make that go away. So it's essentially a saved set of criteria. Sorry, dropping one note in down here. That can allow you to find opportunities in your database. Obviously, a lot of times new leads, certainly we want to have those in a smart list, but behavioral, people that have been in your system for a long time that have become active, people who are in a pond who suddenly save a property again or do something or interact with your website. Follow Up Boss Pixel can tell you they've been on your website recently. So smart lists are essentially a saved set of criteria. You can both filter what that criteria is, as well as select what you want to be visible in these, and also adjust the order and sizing of each of these columns. I think this is a really missed opportunity. I think not enough people really focus on what columns they're seeing and how easy it is to see them. I see a lot of people that just have a whole bunch of columns. It's much easier to work these lists when you can see things like this. Also, if you're an admin, including the assigned agent or pond is often good. Of course, agents only see their own leads, but it's good for you as an admin or an owner level user to come in and see, oh, look, how many people are assigned to a certain agent in a smart list. Smart list zero is also going to show you that, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But you're essentially filtering down here by criteria. Once you have the columns that you want and the size and order that you want, you can either save that as a new smart list if you're doing it for the first time, or if you're modifying an existing list, there will be a button here to update that list. You don't want to create a new one. You just want to update the one that is at hand. So, some good examples. One of the things I really love about collections is the ability to have sets of smart lists. And I think this is really powerful. For example, I would suggest that using smart list zero certainly should be tied to new leads and behavioral activity. Whereas you may, if you have, you could have a separate set of lists for agent sphere. In my mind, this is almost a mindset, right? Like we're prospecting and then we're hitting past clients. I really like the idea of segmenting these because you're doing similar activities when you're doing that. So as an example, I've got smart list zero, which would be the first ones, the active ones, and the new leads to always check. Agent sphere and past clients. I didn't say this yet, but this is being recorded. Everyone who's on right now and anyone that registered will get this recording as soon as I can get it processed when we're done. Agent sphere and past clients, again, kind of a different thing. Working a birthday list or VIP, people likely to refer, past clients. Prospecting, so going into a pond is definitely a different mindset than leads that are newer or have had activity. So I like separating some pond lists out into a different collection. If you have ISAs, you could do the same. ISA new lists, ISA prospecting lists. Closed. My idea for this was more of an admin internal, and we'll get to in a minute kind of how that works. Another cool idea, I see a lot of people that have a lot of really old smart lists and they don't really know if they want them or if they're using them, but they're not ready to delete them. I thought using a collection to organize a set of lists that like, hey, maybe we don't need these, but I don't want to delete them yet, was another, really good idea for that. So, and beyond that, if you have smart lists not in a collection, which we're going to get to in a second, they're just going to be listed down here. And at the very bottom, there's a manage button. So this is how you manage the lists, who they're shared with, are they in collections? What does all that look like? In collections isn't a lovely thing to say, but they're in smart list collections. So we've got this. We hop over here. One thing I want to mention too, if you are wanting to use these assigned collections, you're going to want to go to power ups here on the top right menu and make sure you've got assigned smart list collections on. It's going to be off by default. So you're going to need to turn this on before some of these features will even work for you. But hopping back into the manage smart lists, once I've got that on, I'm able to not only make collections, which are series of smart lists, but I can assign that entire collection to individual agents, teams, or anything like that in my account. What's really powerful about this, in the old way Follow Up Boss did this, agents had to move their own lists into the right order. We often named them number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. If you're using assigned collections, you're now forcing both the criteria and the order of these smart lists where agents cannot modify that. So really important to note, this is a really strong feature for owners and admins in Follow Up Boss to force the smart lists into your agents' accounts that you want them to work. So really powerful feature. I've already got these as assigned collections, but you can see over here I've got options to edit the collection, which would be the name, the emoji, or which lists are in it. And I can also edit the assignment of that. And you can see here, you can share it with teams in Follow Up Boss if you're a platform user, or you can share it with individual agents specifically. But again, using this assigned feature forces the order and setup of these smart lists for everyone that should have them. You can also reorder the list within them over here. You can even reorder the collections as such. And I think we all work kind of top to bottom, left to right. So I think the order of these is really important. So I'd recommend putting some thought into that. But you can see here we can manage a lot from this screen. We can delete or move to different collections. At this time, smart lists cannot be in multiple collections, so that's something that you'll want to know. But again, it's really pretty simple, and I've really seen people start to do some cool things with these. But I wanted to dig in and show. And if you've got, smart lists down here that are not yet in a collection, super, super easy to move them to one of your existing collections. One other really great feature that I think is a real missed opportunity for people here is using this new description. If you hit edit, you can do this from the manage screen, or if you're in the smart list as the owner or admin, you can hit edit. And you can edit this description, including links. You could do links to scripts, links to a Loom video that shows you how to do things, or links to a Loom video that has some recommendations on how to make the updates in this particular list. You can do numbered items. So you can say number 1, read the notes. Number 2, call the lead. Number 3, change the stage. This is really, really powerful. And again, it's per smart list. So you can add any sort of best practices or resources or links that you have. You can even bold things. So if you think, hey, make sure people see this, I want to bold underline this guy. You can add emojis in it. You can do all kinds of good stuff here. Obviously, I wouldn't expect your agents to magically know to read this, so I would do a little training around it, whether that's a Loom video or live, just showing agents, hey, now you've got some instructions or some scripts or some things that you're going to want to check when you're working these smart lists. So hopping back to the concept of Smart List Zero for a minute, I like using smart lists like this. Like we recommend as a company using what we call dynamic smart lists. And the primary thing that makes this dynamic is having a last communication filter in this smart list. So when I call, these are all fake leads, but if I call this lead right now, well, they don't have a phone number, but if I call this lead right now, even the call attempt will take them out of this smart list. This is the idea of a dynamic or smart list zero type of list. And there's a much stronger workflow than having agents just cherry pick through people that they want to call. If you have established this rule and this best practice in this smart list with these criteria, enforcing your agents calling them is the absolute best thing you can do starting yesterday, well, today really, to move your business forward. There's tons of opportunities in your database. You've already got people in here. So using a system where agents just know they need to dial this list down to zero is really where it's at. We work with a lot of teams that do this. I've had a lot of people come to me with doubts at first, and a lot of people come back to me or pull me aside and say, hey, I'm really glad we listened. That really made sense. So again, in this concept of dynamic smart lists, where the agent's only job is to get it down to zero, I would like to show you our app called Smart List Zero, which is going to give you, in Follow Up Boss, you get total counts for your smart lists, but you don't, it's very difficult to see individualized counts for your agents unless you come here and drop down to each agent, check the counts. It's a lot of work. It's possible, but it's a lot of work to dig in and try to figure out who is in these smart lists. So we came up with the idea of creating an app that would give us individualized smart list counts for each agent. Now, the way this works is you want to select certain smart lists. This is not designed to have 30 smart lists in it or even 10. It's really about your newer leads and your behavioral leads, seeing these smart lists and making sure that agents aren't having people hanging out. Again, this is a demo, but if there's an important activity list, we shouldn't have 4 people hanging out in this. We need to call those people. We need to have 0 people in this list, or they need to get a stage change that now they're hot or they're an active client or they're showing homes. So it gives you much greater insight into being able to see what's going on with your agents. You can also filter by agent. So if you have a one-on-one or something of that effect, you want to dig deeper into an agent's smart list counts. I should tackle this real quick too. It allows you to select the agents and the smart lists and stages we'll get to in a minute that you want to measure. This is not designed to do all the things from all your follow boss account. It is designed for you to maintain visibility on specific agents and specific smart lists through this report. Another really cool feature is you can filter down by source and or tag, so you can identify specific leads in your pipeline as well that may be sitting around on a smart list. So this example would be a Zillow Flex lead that was a direct connect. That's going to be a stronger lead. You don't want to have one of those hanging out in needs contact. Somebody needs to be on that. And so drilling down here allows you to have much better visibility into this. Very soon we have a button coming. Actually, technically, if you click on this, it will bring you to that smart list in Follow Up Boss so you can investigate more deeply. But this is simply intel on what's going on within individual agents and individual lists. You can see you've got a total here as well. But the total aggregate shows up also in a super simple leaderboard that's going to show you who is maintaining Smart List Zero and where are your other agents in that process. Quick story on why this started. We had a client we were doing this with just simply as a Google Sheet and having a VA manually check their counts every day. But by pausing the agents who were getting behind and therefore also getting more leads to the agents who were keeping up, they were up 150% year over year in GCI, which is a massive, massive number. But it's simply, and they're not a huge team. It's not like 500 agents. I mean, by simply maintaining people having the right number of leads, not sitting in their smart list, but being contacted in their smart list or being moved to another agent if that needed to be the case. Really powerful thing. We've got a couple other clients that show this in their sales meetings, a little bit of peer pressure to do that. We've also got some cool features coming of pushing out updates to your agents automatically, Follow Boss embedded apps, some cool stuff coming. But we've also got lead claims, which is another very difficult thing to find in Follow Up Boss. This allows you to see all the reassignments in your account, whether they were a first to claim that didn't get claimed, if somebody took a lead from a pond, if somebody gave a lead to a pond. Much better insight here into what's going on with your agents taking or getting both new inbound leads and leads from a pond. There's also some details here that's going to give you a little more history. If there's been multiple reassignments, it'll show you all of that right here. And I also want to show you in another version that's coming very soon, we've got a nudge button that simply opens the contact in Follow Up Boss so you can dig in a little bit more. It doesn't do any sort of auto crazy nudge or anything like that. It simply brings you to the contact so you could reassign it or at mention the agent or figure out what's going on with it. But we don't want you to miss opportunities in your database. So finding these things as leading indicators, not, oh, hey, we got a fellow real seller where they sold with somebody else, which we learn after they close. We want to learn that at the point of inception or the point that they're active. We don't want to wait 3 months to find out they closed with somebody else. We want to catch them early. So leading indicators are a far superior way to do business. So we've got the nudge button, we've got the details. The details also now has time to contact. So if a lead was reassigned or claimed, it's going to also show you, hey, this lead was contacted within 5 minutes or was not contacted. So again, really good intel that you're going to want to see. We also have the same setup for stages. So one of the things here is the same thing, you can drill down. You want to make sure, I'll stick with my Zillow example and a Zillow Flex direct connect tag. You're going to want to see if you've got some of those people sitting in a certain stage in an appointment set or met, and they're sitting there. Again, just better insight into what's going on inside your Follow Up Boss account. So, and last but not least, we've got some agent insights. I'm going to show two quick versions of this as well. But some AI mixed in, telling you, some trends in your agent's behavior here. Also, a sales pipeline, which is essentially just your stages, but you can drill down by agent. So again, for a one-on-one, you can investigate a little more. Like, hey, Lee's got a lot of people sitting in lead. That's probably let's investigate why. Does he need some scripting help? Does he not know how the smart list works and that he should be getting it to zero? Really helping you pinpoint, having a bunch of people in nurture is not bad. People in closed is certainly good. But you can see a lot more what's going on by individual agent here as well. So would love to. I'm going to run another super quick poll and then I'll check the chat, see if we have any questions. Definitely throw me any questions if you got them. Wanted to run another quick poll and just really curious about what your guys' pain points are with Follow Boss Smart List. Is it having them? Is it some of the new features that have changed? Is it getting agent adoption on these? Would love to just hear a little bit more, what you guys are experiencing. And certainly, if you've got questions for me on any of these things, drop them in the chat. Yes, Mark, we're recorded. We'll make sure we send it out to everybody. Thanks for tackling that, Chris. Um, but again, the idea here is that we want to have really clear, simple smart lists with good columns that we want to see. We want to get them organized well so the right people have the right lists. And we want to be able to track what's going on inside of that and make sure that our agents are taking action, again, as a leading indicator, not, oh, shoot, that lead closed with somebody else, but hey, let's get this to another agent if this one's not going to call, or somebody's in a pond and they're taking activity. We want to make sure that we have somebody reach out to them, and we are getting the revenue that we've already paid money for these leads coming in. So great. Love your guys' answers. It looks like it's somewhat across the board. It's kind of all of the things. So really appreciate that. If you guys have any questions at all, I'm happy to tackle some smart list thoughts or any questions about how our app works. You can grab a demo with me or sign up today. I'll drop a quick link to the website here. There's a little more info there as well if you want to check that out, or grab time with me to just go over some of the features and how it might work for your business. We also have a discount. It's $69 lifetime for the first 100 people that sign up. For the people beyond that, it's $99 a month. We want to keep it a simple tool and really affordable, because it's just so important to find these things when they're happening early on rather than to wait and go, oh no, our business is down 10%. I wish I had 3 months ago paid attention to what was going on with leads and the active leads. So again, really appreciate you guys being on. I don't see any questions. Feel free to reply to the recording email. I'll send that recording email out. If you have thoughts or want a demo, you can also reply to that email, and I'm happy to help. So thank you guys for being on today. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you soon.